bigger.
Absolutely.
After every war, the consolidation gets bigger. They own us already, and they will, again, we're nothing more than plantation workers of Slavelandia. This other bastard, this, as I say, it's Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks.
Yeah, that's
That,
right.
that clown that was the president of Princeton, Woodrow Wilson, gave us the Federal Reserve, gave us World War I, and gave us federal taxes. Never had them before.
Well, the business of government is obviously not to protect the people, is to protect itself and to expand.
Yep.
The number one way to do this is by the expansion of war.
Yep.
And this is gonna get really big. I think you're right. People need to be prepared that the United States is in fact in the war. They are at war.
We're at war.
And they better get hip to that, because I don't think people know what's coming down the pike.
No. And again, we have to, again, we're going to have a festival. We're going to call it a festival rather than a rally. And we're going to really get this thing going.
Yeah.
And what we're going to, again, we want to give the people the advice to what they should do. Again, just imagine that your home is bombed and your city's destroyed and you're a refugee. That's what's going to happen. World War II isn't ancient history.
No.
Europe was at the height of the height, and it was destroyed, and we're going to go through the same thing. One of my things is GC's 3Gs, guns, gold, and a getaway plan.
Yeah.
And so for me, and I want to hear what you have to say. Again, I don't give financial advice, but for me, gold, silver, and I like Bitcoin. On
totally.
the Bitcoin number, we have put the number in the Trends Journal where the breakout points are, and they haven't hit either of them yet. So we don't see Bitcoin declining to, and again, what is it, at $30,000 when it started at nothing, so it still ain't cheap,
Exactly.
It's a lot of dough you made. And so to me, why would you keep money in the bank? That is so important, because you're not getting any interest on it.
No.
And if they say all of a sudden Russia hacked the banking system, we're closing it down, you get screwed.
Totally. Absolutely, no doubt. I don't like cash. I don't like to be in cash. I like to have my cash at work, at least doing some kind of thing here. What people need to understand, and this has been my thing since I started, since time immemorial, is what I always say here. At one moment here, we are going to face an implosion in this debt market. It's the hyper bubble of hyper bubbles. It's very simple to understand.
Yep.
The meltdown in the debt market is going to destroy the stock market.
Yep.
It's very simple. The debt market hyper bubble is inflating, and has inflated, obviously, a massive stock market bubble. Not only has it done that, it has caused distortions across the entire spectrum of asset classes. It's very straightforward. Okay. What's going to end up happening, in my view, very simple. Debt market's going to implode. When that bubble implodes, every subsequent other bubble is going to implode along with it. There are also inverse bubbles. Inverse bubble meaning gold and silver here. And I also want to throw cryptocurrencies into this, and I'll tell you why. This is how I believe it's going to play out, and I would love to hear your input on this. So once cash starts to bleed out of the debt market, putting a lot of pressure on the stock market, you're going to see cash move in like a tsunami into suppressed assets, gold, silver, commodities across the board. And in my view, we're going to see the market capitalization of currencies go up multiple fold. You see Bitcoin and cryptos definitely make a move higher here. So I just understand, and it's very simple. See, cash doesn't grow little wings and fly away to money heaven. It looks for places to go. And when we get this implosion in that market, rates are going to spike. You're going to get a massive sell-off in the stock market, and cash is just going to move into, like I said, commodities across the board. Gold and especially silver are going to benefit greatly here. What I always tell people to think about is in these kind of terms. I believe that it's very possible that an 80% sell-off of the S&P 500 is.
Wow.
I believe that is possible because what's going to happen is the markets always overcorrect. And I think that we're going to get a lot of people running to the door at the same time. So the potential for a massive stock market meltdown is just there. It's waiting for the debt market. Now, right now, the debt market is relatively stable, gauging from what the 10-year yield is doing. That's what I look at. It's the benchmark here. That's why I've been telling people since January, this is not a crash. This is more of a corrective phase in the market. It would have been a crash if the 10-year yield started to spike out of control, sell off in the debt market. To me, the most important thing is to focus on what the action in the debt market. Why? Because it's the biggest part of this entire global market. So by watching the action in the 10-year yield only, you have a good idea of where cash is flowing through the market. But that's how I see it. And you're exactly on point here. Gold, silver, Bitcoin are going to benefit, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I want everyone to do their own research, greatly when a meltdown of the debt market occurs, which is going to destroy the stock market. Cash is just going to move like it always does. Risk on will become risk off. It's always a cycle in the market. It's very simple.
Today, the 30-year fixed mortgage hit 5.36%.
Yeah.
So that's double what it was a year ago.
Yeah. But much less than it was several years back.
Yeah, much less. But the market was juiced up by zero interest rate policy and record low mortgage rates.
Yeah.
They're going to be raising interest rates. What do you think the breakout point is that the markets and the equity markets, the real estate markets, and the commercial real estate markets, and you mentioned debt, the debt in the commercial markets is huge. And what you have in also the commercial markets, the big cities keep losing people. People are not going to be going back to work every day. So you have your office occupancy rates down in America, they're down about 60% from what they were before the COVID war began. What do you see the breakout interest rate being where the massive stock meltdown happens?
Well, in my view, it's very simple. And I think we're going to be able to see this in virtual real time. Now, I tell everyone that follows my work to keep their eyes glued on that 10-year yield. In the current environment, gauging in my research what the Federal Reserve is doing by nudging that federal funds rate, especially now with quantitative tightening now starting today, the 10-year yield should be above 3. Now, what we need to watch for is very simple. An uncontrolled spiking in that 10-year yield, like let's say 10 basis point hike followed by another 10 basis point hike. Bang, 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 bang. Once we see that 3%, 3.10, 3.2, 3.5, blah, blah, bang, and that keeps going up very, very rapidly, not in a controlled motion, like a normal slope. When we see that meltdown, that's the meltdown. That's the trigger right there. When you start seeing that, that is going to put enormous pressure on the stock market. I can't point a finger at when this is going to happen because right now the Federal Reserve, they're playing a very dangerous game. They've been playing this very dangerous game for a very long time. You're getting in here, suppressing rates, buying assets. And believe me, they're watching the market. And when it does melt down, it's going to be at a moment of their choosing. There's just no doubt about it. When everyone is on the right side.
A moment of their choosing. Yep, you're 100% right. They know exactly when it's going to happen. And again, when you're looking at the interest rates here, take a look at the EU. Are they going to be raising interest rates 50 basis points in July? It'll bring them to 0?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a joke. And these clowns kept bullshitting us for what? Over a decade. Oh, we have a 2% inflation rate. When inflation hits 2%, we'll be raising interest rates.
Yeah.
They bullshitted us for how many years? Over a decade. Over a decade.
Because they've done this. This is all by design. They've actually increased the Federal Reserve, along with other world central banks, none more so than the Fed, has gone out of its way to deliberately make inflation soar as it is because they're trying to pressure people. They are trying to destroy the middle class. They're trying to wipe them out. People in the upper tiers of society, yeah, sure, this hurts them a little bit, but not that much.
No, it doesn't hurt. Yeah.
They can deal with it, okay, whatever, gasoline, $7 a gallon, okay, that sucks to pay, but whatever, here it is, But this is a deliberate act. They've gone out of their way to do it. And in my view, with the war And every other crisis they want to throw at us, they're going to continue to inflate. And we haven't seen, if they're trying to now sell us the lie, yet again, that inflation is peaking. We are nowhere near peak inflation.
I agree. And here's my greatest fear. When all else fails, they take you to war.
They're doing it now.
They're doing it now, and they know it's failing. What followed the Great Depression? World War II.
Yep.
What followed the dot-com bust? The War on Terror.
Who knows
What
what's
will
next?
follow the COVID war? World War III. These people, what everybody has to get in their mind, they are mentally ill.
They are.
They put on a good act. They don't go like the freak walking down the street. They're pathological liars. They know how to do it very well. Like an Obama, the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner.
Unbelievable.
Folks, who's always folking us. Folks, I want that guy Assad out of there. I want that guy Gaddafi out of there. What makes him any different than the murderers that go in the supermarket or the school? And I'm saying they put on the act.
Yeah.
These are mentally deranged people that are destroying our lives. But we are going to unite. It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, said Samuel Adams. And we, that tireless minority, Greg Manorino, Judge Andrew Napolitano, and others, we're going to be in Kingston on the Four Corners of Freedom this summer, and we'll keep you in touch because united we stand, divided we'll die.
Yes. Let's do it, Gerald. Let's do this.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your knowledge, your insights, your observations, and how really on target you are with all of these forecasts that you've been doing in the markets and in the whole realm. And as you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's going to be a massive stock market meltdown.
Absolutely. I've been telling people this for many, many years. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we have a clue by keeping track of what's going on in the debt market.
Okay, thank you so much, Gregory.
Thank
and
you
we'll
too.
be back soon. All the best. And remember, it's traderschoice.net. Thank you.
Thank you too.